Okay, so good day, guys. I am actually doing this video lecture on Unit 3, Cognitive Development. So we could have a holistic appreciation of the topic. I will be redoing the discussions, those that we have actually touched during your synchronous classes, so that this video lecture would still capture um, the beginning topics. I mean, the topics at the very beginning of the unit up to the end. Okay? So, recall on how we have defined cognitive development. We mentioned on um, looking into the very words, no, that would be cognitive and development. So again, if we talk about cognitive or cognition, we actually refer to mental processes in general. So this would include how we think, how we learn, how we acquire information or knowledge, how we refine our skills. It actually would include um, even problem solving, decision making, so lahat ng proseso, all processes, no, na kung saan ginagamitan natin ng isip, no? So um as to the concept development, no, of course we have learned, no, that development is uh a more comprehensive concept, no, to which um, we look into um, areas like again we perhaps bring in the diverse domains, no? So dito, although dito ang focus natin ay cognitive, no? Pero kapag sinabing development, encompassing kasi yan, no? Na kung saan makikita natin kung meron bang improvement sa functionality ng tao, no? So syempre pag yun ang tinukoy natin, hindi lang yung cognitive aspect ang ating pagtutuunan ng pansin, no? But for this particular unit, we will zero in on cognitive development. Okay, so what sort of changes, if there's any, no, which took place in terms of how we do these things, kung paano tayo natututo, kung paano nade-develop yung skills at yung abilities natin. No? So all of these are actually referring, or they actually would fall under the ambit of cognitive development. No? Even the processes or the stages to which we undergo, no, in terms of um, mental processes, no, or in terms of cognitive functioning. So, kasama po yan sa cognitive development. Okay? Now, dito, we will look into John Piaget's stages of cognitive development, because we will be including in our discussion theories on cognitive development, no? And on top of it, no, is the theory of John Piaget. Okay, so his theory actually illustrates how we, or the process or the stages that we go through, no, from sensory motor to formal operational, no. Kumbaga parang according to Piaget, no, there is universality in the application of his theory. That means all of us, irrespective of culture and even of our background, lahat tayo ay dumadaan sa mga stages na ito. Okay? So, if there's one thing that I wanted to point out, that would be the concept that in the theory of Piaget, no, there is this what we call organization and reorganization of our mental process, no, and in fact he made use of the term schema, organization, adaptation, assimilation, accommodation. We will be looking back into these terms, okay? Because I suppose this were actually discussed in your synchronous class, okay? So it says here that cognitive development, no, is a product of biological maturation. That means nature, okay, and that of our experiences, no, as we interact in the environment. No? So there is a relationship between nature and nurture, and this actually, Piaget actually recognized the contribution of these factors when it comes to cognitive development. Okay, so if there's one thing that I would like you to be reminded of, I think we go back on his basic concepts, no? So, or major concepts. So we have scheme or schema or schemata, no? Some references would make use of these terms, no? But what is schema or what is scheme? Okay, so according to Piaget, um, what we actually do is that we enhance and modify our mental structures or our schemas, no? Our schemas serve as mental framework, no? So lahat ng bagay, lahat ng tao, lahat ng mga pangyayari sa buhay natin ay meron tayong schema. Meron tayong parang point of view, meron tayong may mga representations ang mga ito sa atin. Okay? So, a scheme, as technically defined here, is a pattern of thought or action, no, and represents the real world. Okay, so everything around us actually has representations. No, so that if I would say what is your schema, for example, of a mother, no, so I'm sure you would give me your ideas of or your characterizations of a mother, and this would actually depend on your experiences with a mother, on your impressions, no, of what a mother or of who a mother is, no. So all of this actually would represent your ideas, no, your concepts of, for instance, motherhood or being a mother. Okay? So, what we do actually is, or what happens actually is, um, every day, there is an organization and reorganization of schema in our um, mind or in our brain. Okay, so what is organization? It's the process by which we combine existing schemes into new and more complex intellectual schemes. No? So this, I suppose, is premised on the constructivist philosophy, to which there is a belief, that we already have previous knowledge, or we have previous schema, no, and this schema, no, again, depends on what were taught to us or on our own synthesis on our experiences, no. So what we do is, if for instance there's a new information or a new schema, no, we try to look into our existing schema if these are consistent to our previous knowledge or existing schema. What we do is we embrace, no, and we add up, no, um, this new information that we learn to our existing schema, no, because we look into the other concepts, no, other concepts include actually equilibration, and actually that's the very purpose, no, of the learning process, no. As much as possible, we must have equilibrium, or or balance when it comes to our schemas, no? So, anong ibig sabihin nun, ma'am? Consistent ba yung bagong natutunan ninyo sa mga previous na learnings ninyo, no? Kasi kung consistent yan, kung sa tingin ninyo ay relevant pa siya, applicable pa siya, then dinadagdag lang natin yung bagong kaalaman dun sa um, previous na kaalaman. Kung sa tingin naman natin yung new information or new schema ay inconsistent, no? Ibig sabihin there is disequilibrium, no? Dito nangyayari yung we modify, no? We try to reorganize our mental structure. And if there's a need for us to discard the previous schema or previous learning, then we do it, no? Just so for us to again achieve equilibration or equilibrium. No? So perhaps I could give examples, and to which in this example, um, we will also understand the concepts of assimilation and accommodation. Okay, so say for instance, it's your first time to encounter an animal, no, at home, for instance. So at your young age, kung maalala ninyo kung paano ninyo natutunan yung concept ng dog, no? So siguro you have this pet at home. So remember, dogs are domestic pets, no? So at home, perhaps you have your dogs. You observe that a dog is four-legged with fur and with tail, no? And when it creates a sound, no, we call that as bark. No? It barks. When the dog barks, no, you recognize, no, yung arf, arf, oh, 'di ba mga gano'n, 'di ba? And syempre kapag bata ka, hindi mo alam kung ano 'yun, narinig mong tumunog siya, hindi mo alam kung anong klaseng creature 'yon. Pero with the aid of people around you, no? And this is, I think, where nurture comes in, no? With the aid of the environment, no, or your significant others, for example, no, you came to know that this creature is called dog. Okay. So what is your schema now of a dog? That it is a four-legged animal with fur, with tail, and that it barks. Okay. Now, that's your previous knowledge or previous schema, no? So, um, here comes another stimulus, another pet. No, you observe that like the dog, it is four-legged, it has fur, it has tail, but it actually creates a sound that is different to that of a dog. No, because it does not bark but it mews, no? Oh, meow, kunana, no? So ibig sabihin, it is something different, no? Okay, so if your previous knowledge is that an animal with four legs, with tail, with fur, is called a dog. No? So how is the process of assimilation manifested? No, you now interpret the new experience. The new experience is that you encountered another pet. No, shall I call it a dog or shall I call it something else? No, so there is assimilation in the sense that you come to interpret the new experience, and that's your new schema. So your previous schema, you would now try to weigh whether or not your new schema of this animal is something that you still would what embrace, or that you would alter or modify your existing schema to give way to this new stimulation, which is the cat, no? So kapag nangyari yon, there is assimilation. Okay, and when your existing schema was modified to give way to the new schema, then that is accommodation. Okay, there is now changing of your mental structure or of your schema or the existing schema, so that um, you come up with a synthesis or a conclusion of the new schema, you now realize ang bagong schema mo na ay that not all four-legged with fur and with tail animals are called dogs because they can also be called cats. Okay? So that's where assimilation and accommodation comes in, which still brings us, which is still manifest the concept equilibration. So merong equilibration kapag um, walang confusion doon sa part ng bata, no? Kasi meron ng understanding sa part ng bata na hindi lahat ng four-legged with fur and with tail ay dogs. Pwede ding cats, pwede ding rats, pwede ding rabbits, no? Kasi depende sa klase ng hayop o ng stimulus, no? So, now, we look into the stages of cognitive development by Piaget. Okay? And in here, he discussed four stages. No? We have sensory motor stage. No? Kung titingnan natin ang sensory motor stage, dalawa ang salita na bumubuo sa salitang sensory motor. That would be sensory and motor. Sensory would be senses, when we stimulate the senses. And motor would be, of course, when we talk about movement. So an infant or a baby, because this refers to 2 years and below. No? So babies would actually come to have schema or knowledge about things around them when their senses are stimulated and when they actually move, no? So there are motor abilities that are involved, no? So how do we stimulate their senses, no? Because you see there are senses which are developed, there are also underdeveloped, no, at birth especially, no. So well, it depends upon the stimulation of people around the baby. Okay, so if for instance caregivers, mga mothers specifically, no, when they breastfeed for instance, they don't just simply stimulate the sense of taste, but they may also stimulate other senses like touch, no? They cuddle, they hug the baby, no? And not only that, they can also start communicating with the baby because the sense of hearing is very much uh, tawag dyan, very much activated, no, during these stages, no. In fact, no, meron yung, although reflex man yung startling or yung moro, no, kapag meron silang narinig na loud noise, di ba, madali silang ma-startle, no. So ito yung isa sa mga patunay na malakas ang kanilang pandinig, no. Yun nga lang pagdating sa paningin, they cannot process proximate objects, yung mga sorry, they can only process proximate objects. Yung mga distant, yung mga malalayong objects, no? Hindi pa nila yan maproseso, no? So, kaya nga kung titingnan nyo, is it not that when you play with babies, yung mga months old na nagre-react na, nagre-respond na kapag naki-interact ka sa kanila, no? Is it not that they respond unto you when you go nearer them or when you go nearer their faces, no? If you could still recall, I think one example I mentioned during our synchronous classes would be yung peekaboo game. Okay, so when you do the peekaboo, when you go closer to their face, you say peekaboo, that's where they respond, they smile. Okay, so if there's one milestone that must be developed during sensory motor stage, you have object permanence. No? What is object permanence? No? At 18 months, no, 1 year and 6 months, the baby actually starts looking for objects, no? Even if these objects were gone for a period of time, no? Like for example, yung nanay, di ba? Dati, no, before that stage, no? I mean, during infancy, wala pa sila ng konsepto na maghanap ng nanay, 'di ba? Saka lang siguro sila naghahanap, umiiyak, naghahanap ng nanay kapag gutom sila. Pero at 18 months, when they can now process, no, the fact that there exists, no, that objects continuously exist even if they are no longer visible, no, because that's the concept of object permanence. They start looking for these objects, no. Um ang isa sa mga ebidensya nito ay yung nag-start na silang umiyak at hanapin ang kanilang nanay, at hindi sila titigil hangga't hindi pinapatahan or kinadal ng nanay. Okay? Even if the nanay was not around for quite a period of time. Okay? So, bakit? Kasi at a younger age, no, prior this milestone, kasi meron yung concept na out of sight, out of mind, no? Kapag hindi nila nakita ang isang object, no, parang hindi existent 'yun. I think yung example ko diyan is yung laruan sa crib, no? Yung nakahang at gumagalaw. Kapag hindi na 'yun gumagalaw, nag-stop na 'yun sa paggalaw, yung toys na nakahang sa crib, no? Ang tendency ay nag-i-stop din yung kanilang response. Ibig sabihin, para bang since it's not moving, it does not catch my attention. And so since it did not catch my attention, no, I will not pay attention to that anymore. So parang non-existent yung toy. Pero not during 18 months, no? I mean, before or towards the end of the babyhood stage, nagkakaroon na sila ng ability, no, for object permanence. Okay? Then mhm, we also have the pre-operational stage. Okay, what about pre-operational stage? This is at 2 to 7 years of age. This is preschool years, no? What are some of the abilities or even inabilities of children at this stage, no? So we have the primary characteristic, no, of this of children of these ages, no, is that they have symbolic thinking, no, like they may not know the names of objects, or um uh they may actually involve, no, in some activities, no, to which um they make use of objects as representations, no, of something, no. So for example, I think one example that you gave even when I asked you of this is that remember yung um dahon ng bayabas, 'di ba? That's an object, okay? But at young age, we use the dahon ng bayabas as a symbolism for money. That's why when we played, no, during our play years, kasi itong 2 to 7, this is play age ito eh, no? So in the during the play age, okay? Um we actually make use of those that we could see in our environment. And part of that, katulad na nabanggit ko, is yung dahon ng bayabas. No? Saan natin ginagamit? Ginagamit natin parang pera. No? So kung sa Senate at sa Congress ngayon, naglipa na ang limpak-limpak na pera, na talagang actual na pera. Noong bata tayo, ang dami din nating pera dahil nakakalat lang ang dahon ng bayabas sa paligid natin, di ba? Kasi we use that as a symbol for money. Okay? So, now, that's symbolic thinking, ha? That's the description is that the child developed the ability to make an object or a thing stand for or represent something, no? So, ang example dyan is that a child think of a stick as an airplane and lets it fly. Tama nga naman, 'di ba? So in the same way, you actually play with the dahon ng bayabas and think that as if it's a money, no? And that's why when you in your play activities, you use it as something, you use it when you want to buy something, no? So I don't know if you have experienced that, no? Now, we move on to the symbolic play, no? So it's still in relation to symbolic thinking, no? So dito na-experience siguro natin yung we actually have our superheroes. We act like superheroes or we even actually dress like, no? Yung mga tela-tela na meron kayo, nilalagay nyo, ginagawa nyong cape, no? You believe, for instance, that you are Superman or you are Wonder Woman, no? So you play these roles and even make use of props or, as I mentioned earlier, some objects that you could see around. Okay? So meron kayo nung bahay-bahayan, you take the role of a nanay and the role of a tatay. If you are the nanay, you play with soil, no? 'Di ba? Ginagawa natin, nagluluto tayo gamit yung soil. Okay? So, yung symbol, isa pa yung ano, yung kapag tayo naglalaro, we actually um, treat inanimate objects animately. So I think this leads us to the concept of animism. Okay? So we believe that those objects without life, no, as if have life, no? For example, yung Barbie doll. 'Di ba? We talk with the Barbie doll, we play with when we play with the Barbie doll, we talk with the Barbie doll. We communicate, no? As if there is an internal ano, kumbaga parang at your mind, no? When you talk with the Barbie doll, parang the Barbie doll responds to you, no? So you say, how are you? Kumain ka na ba? Anong gusto mong pagkain? No, para bang tinatrato mong parang totoong buhay na tao yung Barbie doll. Okay, that's animism. Okay? When we have toys also like cars, no? Even if it's a toy car, it appears that we treat the toy car as a real car, no? So yan, we keep it moving and then meron pa siyang pa-sound and all. Okay? Then, one characteristic also of early childhood is, particularly in this pre-operational stage, is egocentrism. So, um, children at this age are unable to recognize another person's point of view and would only consider their perspective, no, when they think, no, dito parang um I think there is this what we call mountain view experiment, no, in relation to egocentrism. Okay, like if you are to look into the perspective of a mountain, 'di ba? Ah, yung yung characterization mo ng mountain depende sa kung saang view ka nakatingin o kung saang perspective ka nakatingin, no? So parang yung ano lang yan, head and tail ng peso, ng coin, 'di ba? Kapag nakaharap sa yung head part ng coin, natural, you would say head. You will not in any way admit that you've seen the tail if what is facing you is the head part, no? So, hindi sa isang bata, hindi mapoproseso ng kanyang isip yung concept na there can be many perspectives, no? And others, no? Other people around me may actually have a different perspective that with that of mine. So hindi niya kayang iproseso 'yon. Okay? So egocentrism. Now, we also have, yung sabi dyan, a child moves near the television to watch regardless of whether other people cannot watch. So that's one concrete example of egocentrism. Hindi niya marirealize na okay, hindi makikita ng mga taong nasa likod ko kung sakaling I will block them of watching. Okay? Then we have centration, the focus on one characteristic or dimension and disregarding all others, no? So, ang example dito is a child believes that the tallest person in class is the oldest, no, because he focus on what particular characteristic, that is height, no? So wala pa siya nung concept ng um, age is not equal to the height, because you see hindi pa niya kayang iproseso yon. Kumbaga parang ang sa isip niya, kaya ka mas matangkad kasi mas matanda ka. Okay? Or yung mga, syempre kapag matanda, yun yung mga malalaki, no? So, um, sa next na stage naman, dahil natututunan na nila yung concept ng quantity, no, or quality, no, nakakapag-compare na sila ng tall, taller, tallest, no, and lumalawak yung dimension, no, yung depth ng knowledge nila. So meron ng decentration. I will explain that in the next stage, no. And lastly is inability to conserve, yung conservation, concept ng conservation. Okay, so what is conservation anyway? I think it will be underscored on the next stage, no, but as for the pre-operational stage, hindi pa kaya ng bata yung concept yan. Intindihin yung concept ng conservation. Ano yung concept ng conservation? It has to do with quantity, no? With value. So since ang bata ay not yet aware of the value of money, for example, no, kapag pinagpili mo siya yan ng isang 50 peso bill versus 10 pieces of 1 peso coin, mas pipiliin niya yung 10 pieces of 1 peso coin kasi he believes na mas marami yun compared dun sa iisang 50 pesos. No? Although in reality, mas syempre may value yung 50 pesos versus dun sa 10 pesos. Okay? That's inability to conserve. Now we move on to the concrete operational stage. So in concrete operational stage, this is school age, elementary years, guys, no? So what happens during this stage? Remember that we are learning the basics. So we are now given ideas as to quantity, as to value, no? We are taught of reading, we are taught of basically the foundational information. And hence, there is also what a development, a progress when it comes to what we know or what we can know. No? So, what are some of the characteristics in the concrete operational stage? That is one, ability to classify. No? So, given the fact that we are learning, no, tinuturo na sa atin yung mga characteristics, yung mga classifications. Actually, we were taught of what living things are, what non-living things are. So we can classify things around us whether they are living things or non-living things, no? We can actually even classify floras and faunas, 'di ba? Meron tayong naalala ninyo nung elementary kayo, tinuro sa atin yung concept ng mga iba't ibang kingdoms ng animals. Meron tayong mammalya, kingdom reptilia, no? So, we are now able to classify. And then, we also have decentration. So, this is in relation to conservation, no? As I mentioned earlier, since at concrete operational stage, we are taught of value, no? Yung money value na sinasabi. We are taught of mathematics, the fundamental mathematical operations. Nagkakaroon na tayo ng kaalaman ng ah, ng value ng pera o ng mga bagay-bagay. Okay? So, hindi na tayo maloloko nung pagdating sa kung ano ang mas marami, mas mabigat, no? So, kung pagpipiliin ka halimbawa ng tawag dyan, um, juice or yung favorite drinks mo, lalagay nila sa baso na yung baso, one glass is stout, no? Yet short, no? Versus one which is tall yet narrow, no? Hindi, syempre ang pipiliin mo na din ang pipiliin mo doon ay yung short na stout kasi mas maraming laman nun kumpara doon sa narrow, tall nga siya pero narrow naman. Okay? Then we also have reversibility. No, you can now figure out no that actions can be reversed. No, so I think ang pinaka-concrete example nito ay um, sa mathematics, no? Yung addition, 5 plus 4 equals 9, 4 plus 5 is equals to 9. Okay? So, kumbaga parang ano na yan, sa edad na yan, no, hindi mo na sila makikita mo na merong um, changes like kung sa pre-operational mag-add pag pinag-add nila itong number na to nagbibilang sila sa concrete operational ah alam na nila, no? I mean, magbibilang sila pero alam nila na since 5 plus 4 and 4 plus 5 compose the same numbers, they will no longer be recounting. Okay? Then we also have seriation. When you sort no, things in order, kaya nga kahit sa sequencing ng story, di ba? You arrange the story you arrange the events in the story. Meron na yan nung elementary natin. Okay? And then we have social centricity. Kung kanina we have egocentricity, dito ay sociocentricity. Now, what is sociocentricity? You are now able to understand the fact that there are people around you, no? So these people around you may have different perspective or point of view, no, as compared to yours, no? So nagkakaroon na tayo ng idea na okay, so maaring yung ideya ng iba ay iba doon sa ideya ko, no? At hindi necessary na kasi egocentricity yung isa, di ba? And formal operational, this is the stage where most of us, no, since you are in your early adulthood stage, no, there is an expectation that you're able to understand abstract ideas, no? Although siguro meron pa rin carry over ng concrete operations kapag nag-math tayo, ginagamitan pa rin natin ng kamay pag nagsosolve. Pero there is an expectation that we can do solving mentally, no? There is what we call hypodeductive reasoning, no? So, we can look into general and specific to general approaches, deductive, inductive approaches when it comes to thinking. Okay? We also think like a scientist. Ano ba yung pamamaraan ng thinking ng scientist, no? There is systematic, no? And we can draw conclusions out of our observations. We can actually do inductive reasoning, no? Um, we can do rational thoughts. We can actually come up with decisions, problem solving. So all of these are characteristics of the formal operational stage. Okay? So I think I had given you naman the task of looking into educational implications, no, of Piaget's theory. Okay, um, that was I think part of your assignment, no. But anyway, since we're discussing this chapter, then we might as well look into some of the educational implications. Okay, considering the fact that um, Piaget believed, no, in the role of nature and nurture, no, when it comes to cognitive development, then therefore um, hereditary endowments, no, and even the environment, no, could be really vital when it comes to development, no. So although kasama rin ito doon sa sociocultural theory ni Lev Vygotsky, pag-uusapan natin yan in a while. Okay? Now we look into some of the educational implications, no, of Piaget's theory. Okay, it says here that there is a focus on the process, no, of thinking, no. So we look not only on the outcomes but on the process, no. So what went through, um why is it that the child has, no, when it comes to depth and quantity or quality of learning, no. So why is it that the child is at a disadvantage, for example? So you don't merely look into the outcome but on the process, no. So it says here, you check, teachers, no, must actually understand, no, the process, no. So kung ano yan, kung halimbawa mathematics man yan, um your goal is not only to look unto the correct answer, no. Kasi kung minsan, di ba, we are always we are accustomed of, no, um Siyempre ang mathematics kasi very precise na subject 'yan, no. So there must be accuracy and to answers, no. At times we forget the process. We only are after the answer or the outcome, no. So dito sa theory ni Piaget, no, um we look on the process as well, no. We look on the learning experience, whether the learning experiences are appropriate actually, no, to build the level of cognitive ability of the or the cognitive functioning of the child. Okay. There is also uh, uh there must also be what in a stress, or we must also underscore the crucial role of the child, no, in terms of his or her cognitive development, no. So there is this what we call self-initiated or self-directed learning, no. Remember that when it comes to the learning process, no, the child is not passive, no. The child actually actively involves, no, in the learning activities, no. So in classrooms, therefore, children must be encouraged to discover for themselves, no. So you are not in any way there to indoctrinate or to um monopolize, no, the learning experience, no. So you give avenue for students to discover for themselves, no, what they are supposed to learn, no. Kaya kung minsan sa higher learning, sa higher education, no, hindi rin encourage yung ini-spoon feed yung mga bata, no? So, bakit? Kasi again, kung titingnan natin yung premises ni John Piaget, no? Sinasabi niya na in fact you have that ability, no, to actually contribute something in the learning, teaching learning um relationship, no? So, teachers must therefore provide a rich, no, variety of activities, no, that would permit students or children, no, to actively engage themselves in the learning process. Okay. Um, what else? There is or there must be an acceptance of the concept of individual differences or uniqueness when it comes to developmental progress, no. Hindi lahat tayo ay um while it's true that we go through the same stages, no, lahat tayo dumadaan sa mga stages na yon kasi yun yung proposition ni John Piaget, pero hindi magkakapareho ang pacing. Ibig sabihin, one may have an advanced development. One may develop in advance. Maaaring nasa formal operational siya kahit yung edad niya ay um, nasa complete operational pa lang supposedly, no? Or vice versa. no? Maaaring nasa formal operational na siya, pero yung cognitive functioning niya ay nasa concrete operational pa lang. So there is this different variability, no, of cognitive development or progress, no? So what should be therefore the input of this among teachers, no? So as much as possible, there must be an initiative on the part of the teacher to look for activities, no, which would what which would cater to the uniqueness or individual um to the differences in terms of abilities, no, of the students. No, so that if there would be a need or a necessity to um, scaffold, no, um, those who are weak, for example, eh, why not, no? So since there is what we call individual differences, no, we cater unto or we address the differences in terms of how we make it sure that our activities are responsive to the needs of the students. Okay? And then we also have, yeah, so I think those are some of the, um, oo. So, isa pa pala yung, yun nga, since we are looking into the stages, um, since this is a stage theory, no, there is an assumption that you cannot move from one stage, or you cannot actually manifest the different characteristics of that particular stage if um, in terms of age, I mean your chronological age, if it does not fit your chronological age, no? So we don't expect children to be adult-like, no, in terms of processing information, no? So kung minsan parang meron tayo kasi nung tendency na uh, um, umayos ka nga, you grow up like an adult, no? I mean, you act like an adult, no? Eh, nasa elementary pa lang naman yung anak mo, no? Mag-isip ka, minsan guilty ako dyan, no? Nagigilty ako, no? So parang you act maturely, no? Pero kung titingnan mo yung stage ng bata, no, eh nasa concrete operational pa lang sana siya, no? So things like this, okay? Then we move, I think it's the next theory is on Vygotsky, no? So we have sociocultural theory of cognitive development. Okay, so what are the prepositions of Vygotsky? No, he proposed that cognitive growth occurs in a sociocultural context. Okay, so there is we underscore the society and culture as having primordial influence on the cognitive growth of children. Okay? What else? Many of a child's most noteworthy cognitive skills evolve from social interactions. No? So meaning to say, whether or not the environment is conducive, no, in terms of what they imbibe to students or to learners, no, the fact still remains that the kind of interactions children would have, no, with people around them like parents, teachers, no, would spell a lot, no, on whether or not there is growth or not, no. So kumbaga yung mga mag-isip-isip tayo, yun bang klase ng environment na meron tayo ay facilitative sa ating cognitive development. Okay? Yung mga kasama mo ba, sa tingin mo, nakakadagdag yan sa kung gaano karami o kalawak ang kaalaman mo? Okay? So, um, we have the following concepts as proposed by Vygotsky. We have MKO. What's MKO? That's more knowledgeable others. No, what's more knowledgeable others? From the word itself, no, are there people, resources, because it's not only people that we refer when we speak of MKO. MKOs can include resources like books, no, technology like internet, no, and at this context, at your generation, you have your AI, or artificial intelligence, which can actually serve as MKO. Okay, so it refers to someone, something, although dito someone ang kanyang emphasis, so ibig sabihin tao, pero katulad ng nabanggit ko, it may also include other resources, no? So, in relation to MKO, we have ZPD, no? So, what is ZPD? Okay, perhaps I could unshare, stop sharing the screen so that I could show you the what do you call that? The figure, no? Kasi merong gamit si Vygotsky na kumbaga parang um yeah, like it's something, no, it's a figure, an illustration, okay, of how is it, no, when it comes to cognitive development. So, mm, okay. Sige, I will be using this figure. Saan na ba yun? To more likely uh, make you understand, no, um, zone of proximal development. Okay? So, let me stop sharing and then uh, we look into this one. So I don't know. I hope this is being shared to you. Yes, I could now see it on screen that it was shared. Okay, so here is how it looks like. So balikan ninyo yung parang similar ito dun sa ecological systems theory ni Yuri Bronfenbrenner, no? In Unit 2, part of what you've learned is the nested yung ecosystem, no? Naalala nyo yung micro, macro, exo, chrono, mesosystem ni Yuri Bronfenbrenner, no? So somewhat nested din itong kay Vygotsky, pero tingnan natin kung ano yung in-emphasize niya, okay? So the ZPD stands for Zone of Proximal Development, okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na lower limit, upper limit, at yung um, overlapping, kasi kung dalawang circles sana yan, no? Actually, yun yung ginamit ko dun sa mga ibang classes, yung dalawang circle na merong overlapping. Okay? So, just put this on mind. There are things that we can do alone, no? Even without the assistance of others, no? May mga talagang abilidad tayo na we can do these activities, no, sa academics man yan, mga personal task man yan, or what, no, even without the assistance, support from others. So in short, there are information that we already know, there are tasks, activities that we are already capable of doing independently. Okay? That's the lower limit. Okay? Uh, Now, looking forward, there are also things, information, tasks, or activities that we are not capable of doing or learning. No? Whether we admit it or not, meron talagang mga ganon, no? May mga information na hindi pa natin alam, may mga kakayahan na pwede sigurong malinang pero hindi pa nalilinang sa atin, no? So even with or without the assistance, no, um, we cannot actually do that yet. Hindi pa. Okay? Now, meron yung um, overlap, meron yung parang in between we have the zone of proximal development. So dito, papasok yung mga kaya nating gawin kung merong scaffolding, kung merong assistance ng MKO. Okay? So, dito papasok si ZPD. Okay? Ang pinaka, kumbaga, maximum, o siguro ito yung ginamit kong, ito pala yung ginamit kong tawag dyan, um, figure, no? So, ayan. Eto. Okay. So, kung titingnan ninyo itong yellow-green na part, yung nasa gitna, no? That is that area to which we are able to learn information, to do tasks or things, carry out activities with the assistance, with the scaffolding of others. So, yun yung ZPD, guys. Ngayon, itong yellow na part, no, we can come to actually know this information and even this task, no, provided that others, no, particularly our MKOs, no, could or would help us. Okay, so that's the concept of ZPD. Now, we go back onto the learning content. Okay? So, the concept of ZPD is that there is a proximal zone. There is an area, no, to which we are able to learn, we are able to do tasks, develop our skills, provided that we are given assistance, no, or guidance from our MKOs. Then we also have a scaffolding. Okay, what is scaffolding? No, ano ba ang root word ng scaffolding? It's scaffold, no? Um, literally, a scaffold is that one that you use when you are building a structure, no? For example, gumagawa ka ng bahay, merong scaffold doon, no? So ang scaffold, ang purpose ng scaffold is as a support. Now, taking that, no, as a concept, no, in trying to define, no, this scaffolding concept in relation to cognitive development, no. So there is what? There is a minimum or a maximum level of assistance or support that is needed by a child, no, in the course of the teaching session, no. So kung halimbawa nasa tingin mo si Pedro ay madaling maintindihan yung tinuturo mo, malamang ay konti ang scaffolding o baka hindi na niya kailangan ng scaffolding. Pero kung si Juan, nakita mong hirap na intindihin yung konseptong itinuturo mo, then most likely dito si Juan ang nangangailangan ng scaffolding. Okay? So, naintindihan nyo? Now, we look into the differences. How different is the theory of Vygotsky to that of Piaget? No? So, there are some which were cited here. We have Vygotsky emphasizes on culture, which is considered as a factor in affecting cognitive development, no? So while Piaget mentioned about the role of nurture, um, Piaget actually mentioned on the universality, no? So there is a concept of universality, no? With regard the stages. So para bang sinasabi ni Piaget na irrespective of culture, lahat tayo dumadaan sa sa stages na ito, from sensory motor hanggang formal operational stage. Okay? So, kay Vygotsky, sinasabi niya na, well, nagkakaiba, merong pagkakaiba tayo ng kultura. No? So, ang pagkakaiba ng kultura na to ay isa sa mga factors kung kaya merong pagkakaiba din sa cognitive progression or cognitive development natin. Yung mga ibang cultures, well, hindi masyado sigurong hindi sila masyado pagdating sa scaffolding, no? Or siguro, syempre, magkakaiba tayo ng cultural values. Hindi masyadong priority sa kanilang education, for example, no? Kaya, anong impact nito sa cognitive development, no? Kay Piaget kasi, well, kumbaga parang there is universality, sinasabi niya, no? It does not kumbaga it does not consider the culture kasi irrespective of the culture, lahat tayo dumadaan sa stages na to. Okay? Kay Vygotsky, there is an emphasis on social factors, no? Okay. Um Remember, yung isa sa mga in-emphasize niya is on social interactions. Okay? For one to have to be at the proximal development, for one to achieve proximal development when it comes to cognitive development, no, there must be what, guided learning, or that there must be a healthy social interaction, no. um, Children are viewed as what, co as partners, no, children and their partners, sabi dito, social interactions from guided learning within the, as children and their partners co-construct knowledge, no. So it seems that those who compose the environment of the child are vital, no, in terms of what he or she knows, no. Because of course this would depend on the social interactions, no, that were established. Okay. On the other hand, Piaget maintains that cognitive development stems largely from independent explorations, no. So kumbaga parang individualistic yung perspective ni Piaget na sinasabi niya, if there's one person who is accountable of his or her learning, that would be the child, no, because they are given the responsibility to construct knowledge on their own, no. Kay Vygotsky kasi, well, much is laid down by the environment, much can be done, no, through the social interactions. Okay. Vygotsky places emphasis also on language, the role of language, no? So remember, um, uh, when it comes to language development, I think again we bring in the context of the environment, no? Kasi whatever the child hears, no, that's what he reproduces, 'di ba? In linguistic development. So um according to PJ, language depends on thought for its development. So kumbaga parang it comes out naturally. It will sabi niya, thought comes before language. So parang the cognitive faculty of the child is developed for the language. Kumbaga parang well, darating ka doon sa point na talagang magsasalita ka kasi kasama sa development ng brain structure mo. For Vygotsky, however, no, thought and language are different systems, magkaiba, no? So, from the beginning of life, um, uh, merging at around 3 years of age, no? So, kumbaga parang um, Vygotsky um, proposes, no, that cognitive development comes as a result of language development, which is vice versa. Um, I mean, which in vice versa is belief of Piaget. Okay? And then what else? According to Vygotsky, adults are an important source of cognitive development because they are considered as MKOs. No? So they have the wisdom, they are more they have acquired more knowledge and more experience, more skills. No? So, kumbaga, the kind of um, people around you, no? There is an assumption that older people uh, around you are considered as MKOs or more knowledgeable others. Okay. On the other hand, Piaget believe in the importance of peers, no? Okay. So, nevertheless, um, there is still is what? There is still is fact or truth in the concept of MKO ni Lev Vygotsky. Okay? So, uh, if we look into Vygotsky's theory, no, what do you think are some of the educational implications of Vygotsky's theory? I think we could extract it right from the concepts that he used. No, so since social interaction and scaffolding are part of what he advocated, then therefore, what should we be reminded of as teachers? No, remember that you are MKOs. As teachers, you are supposedly more knowledgeable others. Therefore, it's a challenge on your part to always what upgrade yourselves professionally, no? As you enter your classes, no, there is an assumption and an expectation on the part of your students that you know your lessons well. Okay, so you try to look into the reality of this. No, I mean, I could you somewhat say that yes, I could see my teachers as an MKO. No, so how can you also make the child be on the ZPD? No? Kasi it's in the Z, it's on that sphere where there is proximal development when it comes to cognitive aspect. No? So how can you target instruction, no, in such a way that it is at the ZPD? No? So when you, for example, offer tasks or when you come up with application task, no, or any activity that um, would supposedly assess or augment or substantiate learning, no, you make it sure that it is within the ability of the child. No? So what am I capable of doing? Or um, within the ZPD, what am I capable of doing with the assistance of others, no? So as not to create frustration siguro on the part of the learner. Okay? So ayan. I think I have to end it here kasi masyadong mabigat mamaya yung file kung ididire-diretso ko. So, I will make another video lecture on this topic. Okay? So, thank you and good day.